chapter of our process management, as we have seen a little bit about the the synchronization issues when we have the shared data for multiple processes that cause the synchronization problem, race condition. So we'd like to address such a problem with something algorithm. We have learned algorithm 1, algorithm 2, pattern solution, and using the instruction and also using the operating system, the solution, so we can solve the problem of the synchronization. However, when we see the semaphore solution using the semaphore, so we have the specialized semaphore that is the 0 or 1, which is called the mutex. The mutex is kind of a lock, okay? The operating system provides a lock, so we can the wait and signal using two operations. It is the same the method as the lock and release the lock. So, for example, process. So why don't we use that? I have the mind. So think about we have the two processes. We have the two process 0 and process 1. Process 0 wait and semaphore A. So we have the two semaphore, two mutex the semaphore. So which means the P0 gets the lock of semaphore A. At the same time, P1 gets the lock of the semaphore, the mutex B. So there might be no problem. At that time, what if the P0 asks the lock of the B, okay? But it's held by the P1. At the same time, P1 asks the lock of A, which is held by P0. What happened? They keep waiting until one of them is released. Okay, that is called the deadlock situation. Deadlock happens a lot, even in our daily life. Deadlock happens. What kind of deadlock you encounter? Traffic is one of them. Yes, right. So when I was in the Korea before I moved to United States, one of the reasons was I really hate the traffic in the morning, because when I moved to the new company, which was the IBM Korea, so I expected, because the IBM Korea headquarters is just a 5 minute the driving distance from my home, so I expect I'm going to enjoy the morning time at home, because it's just a 5 minute driving distance. I realized that I was assigned to the all the way. There is a 2.5 hours driving distance in the morning. It's a customer site. So, you know, the Seoul is one of the metropolitan city in Korea, which has the 12 million, and the traffic is horrible. So my home is the south part of Korea. My customer site is the northwest side of the Seoul. So I should get through the downtown. So always the traffic is 2.5 hours. So I waste 5 hours a day on the street. Because of that, actually I studied the TOEFL and GRE, you know. So I used 5 hours a day for studying to prepare my English exam too. So that was the one. It's an irony anyway. So that usually happens in the downtown. So you can see. So this kind of the traffic, right? What will be the solution? So this car is all the backup and the same thing. So this is usually happening in the downtown. Solution? Backup all the way, or so it's the same problem. So we can consider the sequence of the instruction is a process. Sequence of instruction is a process. Process, and the street itself is the resource. So this process is taking this resource but asking the next one, something like that. They are asking the process or the resource held by another process. This situation is called the deadlock situation, which is very commonly usually happen in operating system, because operating system, as you know, it supports the multiple processes. At the same time, we have very limited resources. Some of them are shared. So definitely happen. So we will see. What will be the solution? I already gave you the answer. In terms of operating system, actually ignore such a threat. Think about the President of the United States. Does Obama care about the traffic deadlock situation? No, actually not. So if operating system takes care all the deadlock situation and everything, so there's no chance to process the program. Okay, so it takes a long time, and so we will see what is the actually the deadlock, and we will define formally, and what can be the solution, what is the practical solution of that. So first time that we are going to consider everything, physical resource and the logical resource, and anything in your operating system, in your computer, can be considered as the resource. That includes the physical devices like the printer, tape driver, but also in addition to that, we have the logical resource. Logical resource means data structure. Okay, we have learned a lot of data structure. Even though in this course we have learned some semaphore with a swap instruction. So these are the resource also, the logical resource. And what about the communication method, like the socket link? Network is also it's a computer resource. It can be viewed as described as the file descriptor. Actually, everything is a file in operating system, which means it's the resource. So we will consider all of them as a resource. Then we have multiple the processes that consume the resource. This is one of the example of the deadlock situation, which means we have the shared resource. It's a bridge. Then it's unfortunately it has only one way to cross the bridges, so they can meet each other. Solution. First solution, one of them can be backup, right? Or another way, another solution can be explode one of the car or push over into the bridge. Yes, that can be the real solution in operating system. So, but which is not possible in the real life story. But we will see how can we address. It's the same idea, basically. Okay. Sometimes we can put the sign: no car enter this bridge when another car is coming. So you can put the sign over here. So that can be the solution. That is a real solution in operating system. It's called the deadlock prevention or the avoidance. We will see. So to define formally such a deadlock situation, so we are going to use the system model. System model is the first resource can be represented by the capital letter R. So we have n number of different resources. So R1 to Rn. For example, the CPU cycle can be one resource, and memory space can be another resource, and I/O devices, yes, definitely is one type of resource. It's a type, okay? Sometimes we can have the multiple CPU, so that doesn't mean that we have the multiple types. There's only one type for the CPU. That each resource may have the multiple instances. So CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 2. So we will see detail about it. That is the W instances. So each resource has the multiple instances. So, and most of the time, the processor acquire the resource using the request. First, check whether the process and the resource are available. Request. Then, if approved by operating system or the algorithm, then acquire use the resource. Then release. So always request use the release. Sometimes the name of a method or a function can be various, like the file open, fopen function. Okay. Then after you read or write the file, then you can close the file, fclose. It's the same mechanism. Request use release. Request. What about the log? The semaphore is the same. Semaphore you can wait. Then use the entering the critical section and signal. It's the same idea. Request, use, release. Always this pattern, using this pattern, process can use the system resource. Okay, then from this one or general idea of the deadlock, we are going to characterize such a deadlock formally. First characteristic of such a deadlock is a mutual exclusion, which means only at a certain time, one process can use the resource. It's not shared. If that is shared, no problem, definitely. If this road is shareable, which means there is some bridge or the tunnel or even there might be way, so there might be no problem. Like this one, if this is shareable this way, then there might be no problem. Only the mutual exclusion that may, not always, that may cause the deadlock situation. In other words, all the cases of deadlock is a mutual exclusion for the resource. Holden weight. Holden weight means that if you, in case of the deadlock, when you see each process is holding certain resource. Okay? So holding certain resource, then wait for the other. Wait for the other resource, like the traffic jam. So this process, this sequence of car is holding this current resource. Then wait for crossing this intersection. Okay, and this is the same holding this way. So and requesting wait for this way. Okay, always hold and wait. So that is the second characteristic of the deadlock. Okay. No preemption. No preemptive means, so what is a preemptive algorithm? Non-preemptive algorithm. If you can stop the middle of a process or back up, that is the preemptive in scheduling algorithm. Non-preemptive means once it starts, it's greedy. Keep asking and finally it should be done. So no preemptive means in the deadlock, in this case, no backup. No stop. So keep asking, okay, until get the request, until finalize the request. Same thing here. So no backup. Always keep moving forward. That is the no preemptive. So that is the third characteristic. The final characteristic of the deadlock is the most important part. It's a circular way. Hold and wait. Even though hold and wait, hold and wait, hold and wait. But it's not circular. That means he can release the lock of the resource. Then finally, sequentially, he can release the lock. He can release the lock. Then everybody can be happy, right? Because it's a hold and wait and the mutual exclusion and no preemptive. But there's no problem because it's not circular way. Circular way means this is a typical example. So this one is waiting for this resource. This one is waiting for this resource. This one is waiting for this. And this one is a circular. Always should be circular pattern. Hold and wait is a circular pattern. What about this one? Is it circular or not? It's actually circular. Why? So hold and wait. Hold and wait. It's a circular pattern. Okay? Even two process case is a circular way. So four characteristics. One is the mutual exclusion. The second, hold and wait. Third, no preemptive. Last one is most important part, circular way. So that is the deadlock. The characteristic of the deadlock. We are going to consider this the deadlock characteristic to solve the problem of the deadlock in our case. So this is formally defined in case we have the number of processes and then they are waiting each other as a circular fashion. Okay, at that time we are going to consider resource allocation graph, which is called RAG. What is a graph structure? Graduate student definitely know what is a graph. What about the undergraduate student? Did you learn the graph structure in your data structure course, right? So I think this is 102 or 2 something. So you learn. What is a graph? It has vertex, set of edges. What is an edge? It's a connect to node. So, which means graph has a set of graph G has set of node and set of edges. This is our graph structure. Why are we going to use such a graph to model the deadlock? What is the benefit of using graph? What is the similar thing but different data structure? We have tree structure, right? Tree is, it also has a number of nodes. And it has the relationship like the edge, but it has a parent and children relationship. Also different types of node, root node, which does not have parent, only children node. And the leaf node, no children, okay, only parent. Internal node, it has the both of them. And also it has a direction, parent and children. That is a tree structure. But graph, there is no direction. Some of the specialized graph has the direction like the directed graph. Okay? Then, anyway, why graph is selected to model this kind of? It is good for represent the relationship of node. Okay? So like this one. If we consider each node as a process, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, and this is the something request, okay, or receive. So we can formalize the problem of the deadlock using graph, because usually graph is the data structure that can represent the relationship of the node. Okay, so to do that, we are going to define the two different types of node. Not just V1, V1 and V2. One is the process node, okay? That can be represented by the circle. Okay, we are going to use the circle. And also, in addition to that, we have the resource node. Resource node, R node, that is represented by the rectangle. There are two types of nodes in this resource allocation graph. So, then there are also two types of the edges. One is the request edges. Request means, as we have seen the couple of slides before, request, use, and release. Okay? Or request, use, and release. So, to represent the request, we can use the one direction of the graph from process to resource. Process to resource is a request. It's not assigned. To use that is a assigned. Assigned, we are going to use opposite direction of the arrow, like this one. So, which means Rj, resource type J, is assigned. It's being used. What about the release? After release, no edges. So, Pi is currently using Rj. So we have two types of node and two types of edges to formalize the deadlock situation. Deadlock event. So process is a circle. Circle is the node, and we have another type of node. It's a resource node. It's a rectangular, but you can see the smaller rectangular inside. What does that mean? It's the instances. Like for example, if this is a CPU, CPU 0, CPU 1, CPU 2, CPU 3. So we can represent the instance using the smaller rectangular. Okay? So that is the resource type, and in this case, this resource has the full instances. Okay? And then we have the two types of the edges. From process to resource is a request. I need. It's not acquired yet. It's a I need the resource. At the time, we don't know which instance will be assigned. So we are going to just point to the outer rectangle, resource type. Okay, then as soon as the operating system allocate the resource to the process, then one of the instance will be pointed to the process. At this time, the arrow, the edge, the directed edge, in this case it has a direction, it's a directed graph. Directed edge will point from the instance, smaller, the rectangular, to the process. This is called RAG, resource allocation graph. But when you read the technical paper or the article or the textbook, you will see a lot of such a something graph. RAG is one of the popular name. So not always RAG means the resource allocation graph. In my dissertation of PhD, so I used the same name of RAG. I used that idea of a graph to model the video data. So at the time I used I forgot the name. Region. I forgot my word. Region something graph. This is RAG also. I forgot. It's my word. Anyway, so RAG is a popular name, but this time represents a resource allocation graph. For example, so this one. How many processes in this case? 1, 2, 3. How many different types of resource? R1 is one type, R2 is another type, 3, 4. There are 4 types of the resource type. Then R2 has how many instances? 2 instances, like the CPU, CPU1, CPU2. And R4 is a disk drive, and HDD1, HDD2, HDD3, something like that. Then this time we can understand what is the current status of the process and the resource allocation. Process 1 is holding the resource type 2 currently. And also there is another process, P2 is holding the resource. Then P1 requests R1. However, the R1 is held by the P2. So P1 is waiting until this one is available. Also at the same time, P2 is requesting PR3, which is held by P2. Okay? What if this one? Is this the P3 is holding the R3 and requesting R2? Is it deadlock? One. We can check first mutual exclusion, right? It's a mutual exclusion, right? Only it's not shareable. And the second characteristic is what? Hold and wait. All processes are holding a resource or the resources and wait for other person. And no preemptive. They don't want to stop. Okay? And the last one, circular. Okay? Overall, it's a circular pattern. So this is called deadlock situation. What if we do not have this one? Is it deadlock or not? Even though we have it's not circle, right? It's not circle. We cannot say this is a circle. Even though this one looks like a circle, because we need to consider the direction. So once P3 is completed and release the I3, then P2 will acquire I3, then eventually terminate it. Then release R1, then P1 will be done. So there might be no problem. This is not a deadlock situation. So that is the example of the resource allocation graph. So much easier to understand. Multiple process with a multiple the resource with the multiple instances. Any question? Okay. So we already see. So what if the P3 requests the resource held by the P1 and P2? This is called the deadlock situation because it's satisfied with all characteristics of the deadlock. Okay? However, not always. Even though we have such a, in this case it's a deadlock, even though it has the circular pattern, it can be completed. Okay? Let's see the example of this one. What about this? The P1 is holding R2 and requesting the R1. R1 is held by the P3 and P2 and the request R2. So we can find the circular waiting. But is this the deadlock? Probably not. Why? Because the P2 will be eventually terminated. And also P4 will be eventually terminated. Once either P2 or P4 is terminated, P3 will get the lock, or P1 get the lock, the lock of the resource 1. So there might be no problem. So in general, even though we have the circular waiting, and even though the process state, the resource allocation graph satisfied with the all 4 requirements, that is not always the deadlock. Okay? It's not if and only if case. It's however, in case of deadlock, that satisfies with the all requirement. However, not vice versa. Even though the current resource allocation graph satisfies all the condition, okay, characteristic, that doesn't mean it's always the deadlock. Sometimes deadlock, sometimes not. This is the counterexample of that. Okay. Why? Because we have available resource. Okay? Because of the multiple instances. So this is a basic fact of the deadlock. So no cycle, definitely no deadlock. It's okay. However, if we can find a cycle, the circle from the graph, that may cause the deadlock. Okay? Usually in one instance case, definitely it's a deadlock. Multiple instance is possible. That because of that, it's much more complicated. It's sometimes waste of resources. If you try to find the deadlock, even detecting the deadlock is a time consuming. It needs a lot of resources. Problem of graph. What is the problem of graph? When you learn the data structure, you analyze each data structure or algorithm using the O notation for the computational, the complexity, also space analysis, something like that. Usually, graph algorithm have very high complexity, BO notation, okay, which is called sometimes NP-hard problem. Anyone who heard about NP-hard problem? Extra point. Who can answer? Oh, really? You can search right now. What is the NP-hard problem? NP stands for what?
Yeah, factorial. What's the
Not factorial. There's no F.
yeah, but there was the MP. It was not the
NP means
yeah,
non-deterministic.
yeah.
There's no D. Non is correct. What is a P? Non-preemptive.
No.
Good guess, but not. Who said the polynomial? So, what does that mean? Non-polynomial means. Do you need more time to read? Non-polynomial means it can be optimized. It's an optimization problem. Polynomial means you can make the equations, it's optimized, which means you can, as long as you can find the coefficient and the value, it can be optimized. It's a linear optimization. In the linear algebra class, you learned about from the multiple, the linear equation, you try to find the optimized. So many of the algorithms can be optimized. Graph cannot be optimized, which means only brute force way. Okay? To process the graph, you need to, for each node, you need to check all the nodes. And next node, check all the nodes. Next check, so n to the power of n sometimes. Okay? It's not. This is a brute force way. It's not polynomial, the problem. so-called anti-hard problem. There are the optimized algorithm for the graph by considering the condition or the limit of the condition. Okay, so they can reduce, but most of them, which means it's a very time-consuming eventually. So that is the main problem of this resource allocation graph. So not always it can be the deadlock, even though we find the circle. So we will see. So anyway, how can we handle the deadlock? Okay. Eventually, we will see the practical solution is the even one. But not all the operating system ignore. We need to know why the operating system ignore that. So there are different types of the solution regarding to the deadlock. First one is the prevention, and second one is the avoidance. Both prevention and avoidance, okay, never allow the operating system enter the deadlock situation. It's very strict, okay? So what is the difference? Prevention and avoidance. For me, as a person who learned English as a second language, it's not much difference. The prevention, anyway, it's a negative word, right? Prevention and avoidance. So every time, even I confuse. So which one is which? So please be careful to follow. Right? So first, deadlock prevent. It's a prevent the deadlock, which means it is to never enter the deadlock because it's a prevent. Okay? How can we prevent? What is the requirement of the deadlock? So mutual exclusion, hold and wait, and the non-preemptive and the circular wait. So why don't we break one of these? That means it's not deadlock, right? For example, mutual exclusion. You always allow shared resource, shareable resource. Okay, then there might be no problem. There is no deadlock because there is no mutual exclusion. Or hold and wait. We are not going to allow hold and wait. Which means when a process is running, always get all the resources first. Never wait. Just get. Then when you get all the resource, then process. Okay? Never hold and wait. The first time beginning of process, so check all required resources. Until get the resource, process cannot be started. The instruction. Okay? That is the hold and breaking the requirement of a hold and wait. Then what about the no preemptive? That preemptive. Make the preemptive the process, which means it can be stopped anytime. If something happens, stop, do it again. It can be stopped, do it again. You cannot keep the current status, or unlike the CPU, the context switch. Okay, CPU context switch is a preemptive, the operation. But what about the data, the hard disk drive? When you are holding the hard disk drive, you write something data and update, but I cannot the process. So preemptive, which means so stop everything, do it again. You need to do again every time the restart. So that is the preemptive, the process. So opposite of no preemptive is the preemptive. Circular way, we are not going to allow any circular way in terms of operating system. Operating system check whether there is. In other words, only serial execution. You are going to allow serial execution only. Okay, that is this one. So then we can prevent the deadlock problem. Sometimes it's not possible. Like the shareable resource, can we make all the resources shareable? No, we cannot. So CPU cannot be shared. You need to stop. Even though we can share the time, it's a time sharing. Time sharing does not mean the share at the same time. Okay, we slice the time and allocate the different process using context switch and CPU scheduling. So sometimes it's hold and wait. So there might be a starvation problem, which means there are many processes, I guess, that cannot even start their job until they need to wait until they get all the resources. So that is the practical. What about the no preemptive? Starting again, starting again, starting again. So it may be also starvation problem. Circular wait is very complicated. The serial, the execution. Database uses such a serial execution, but they have the different the locking mechanism, so maybe possible, but in operating system, it's not easy, okay, to decide. So, deadlock prevention is ideally okay, but physically it's not easy, okay, to apply in the, but in specific operating system, you can. Also, one more, the misunderstanding of the algorithm that you learn in operating system class, it's not only for operating system, okay? Many of the, most of the algorithm that you learn, it can be applied to the application program or embedded operating, even the small, the project, you can apply such an algorithm. Such a deadlock prevention can be used for your policy, even not computer system, in your policy you can process management. So you can consider such the technique, deadlock prevention. The next one is the deadlock avoidance. Deadlock avoidance also never enter deadlock. Okay? How? Before, if the operating system receive any request from any process, like the process A need the CPU resource, check whether this request cause deadlock or not. How can we check? Using 4 characteristics. Okay? So, that means dynamically extract the current status of the process and resource. Once the operating system receives such a request, using the prior information, check whether this is the deadlock or not. That is the deadlock avoidance. Okay? So, at that time, we can define the safe state. Safe state means, so we have the current status of the process, like this one, for example. This is the current status. P3 request. Okay, P3 request the resource of I2. So, decide whether this allocation may cause the deadlock or not. If I allow this request, that will enter deadlock, right? So the operating system, decline that request. That is a deadlock avoidance. Okay. Per group, how can we check whether this allocation is a deadlock one? At that time, we will define the safe state. Safe state means if you can find the sequence of process, like the P1, P2, P3, P4, okay, sequence of process that can be terminated sequentially. All process can be terminated, then that is called safe state. So for example, is this the safe state or not? Safe state means, can we find the order of sequence of process that can be successfully terminated? So, which one will be the first process to be terminated without deadlock? P3. Then P2, then P1, or P3, P1, P2. Okay? Is it possible? P3 done. Still P1 is not okay. So as long as you can find at least one sequence of process list that can be successfully terminated, this is called safe state. What about this? This is not the safe state. We cannot find any process list that can be successfully terminated. So, after you allow the allocation request, then check whether this is the safe state or not. If that is a safe state, yes, okay, you give the permission to get the log of the results. Otherwise, non-safe state, then you can decline the request. So actually, your operating system never enter the deadlock event. Instead, you can avoid the deadlock. That is the difference between deadlock prevention and deadlock avoidance. Deadlock prevention, you break one of the requirements of deadlock. Deadlock avoidance, check the future. Whether, what if I allow this request? Okay, if that enter the deadlock, in other words, non-safe state, decline. If that will be the safe state, yes, you can permit. That is the deadlock avoidance. So, problem is, in this case, it's quite easy to decide the process list. In general, it's not easy. So we will see how can we find, how can we determine safe state or not. Okay. So our goal is, what if I allow the request, whether that is a safe state or not. So to do that, this is we have three processes, P1, P0, P1, P2, and 12 magnetic tape. Do you think the magnetic tape is currently used in the computer system? You know the magnetic tape. It's a cassette tape. Really, cassette tape can be used for your storage. When I had the personal computer first time, 1983, the secondary storage was the cassette tape, really. So I can save the data in the cassette tape. When you turn on that cassette tape, is some weird sound, cracking sound, yes, like that. So magnetic tape is still used as a backup purpose. So it's called the DLT, digital something. The tape is 8 millimeter tape, because the magnetic tape sometimes it's cheap, always cheap, but also sometimes it's more reliable. Okay, the hard disk drive, if you throw away the hard disk drive, disk-based hard disk drive, it can be scratchy. Scratchy causes the bad sector, so it's not. Also, it's not the memory stick. Your memory stick, somebody likes, this is expensive to be used for backup purpose, like the 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, or several terabyte the memory stick. So here, the magnetic tape is used for the backup. So we are going to use the 12, the magnetic tape. As a result, there are three processes. It's a current status. So 10, P0 need the maximum 10 to be terminated. Similarly, 4 for P1, 9 for P2. Currently, the P0 is holding 5 magnetic tape. P1 holding 2 of them, P2 is 2 of them. Is it the safe state one? In other words, can you find the list of process that can be successfully terminated one? Can you? Which one can be terminated? So, first 9 of them are held by processes. How many available? How many available? How many? 12 minus 9, 3 magnetic tapes are currently available. If we use the resource allocation graph, there's 12 instances, and we have 3 processes. P0 is holding 5, something like that. And P1, 2. So 3 of them are available. Okay, then each process can be terminated first. Which one?
P1.
P1. Because P1 needs only 2 more. So it's less than available. So this can be terminated. So first P1. Then after P1 is terminated, return 2 of the head, okay, resource, which means total 5 available resource. Okay? Then which one will be the next process? P0. P0 needs only 5 more. So P0 can be done. Then finally P2 can be terminated. So P1, P0 followed by P2 is the process list. Okay? That can be successfully terminated, all of them. Which means that this is the safe state. So this is current. This is the current status. It's okay. There's no problem. What if P2 requests one more tape? So before we check, the P2 requests one more. Okay. Deadlock avoidance. Check whether this request caused the deadlock or not. In other words, whether this status is the safe state or not. So assume this one is allocated to the P2. So this one currently 3 of them. So what is the available one? Only 2, 3, 5. So which means 2 of them are available.
No, but P2 means the 3 now.
Okay. So 3. Okay. So 2 of them are available. Then each process can be done first. This one, because this needs only 2 more. So this will be allocated, then the final P1 is okay. Then after P1 is terminated, the 2 of them will be returned. Available is 4. Not enough P0, not enough P2, which means it's the deadlock, which means this is the non-safe state. So as an operating system, decline this request. This is the deadlock avoidance. Okay.
Professor?
Yes.
I'm not very clear about which one is allocated, which one is request.
So in this case, this is a current status, which means 5 the magnetic tape are already allocated to P1. It's a holding 5. P1, P0. P0 is holding 5 magnetic tapes. Current need means it's currently the hold, the 5 of them. I think because of the name, it will be confusing. It's a hold. How many hold? Okay, 5. And P1 is holding 2 of the magnetic tape, and P2 is holding the 2 of the magnetic tape. So 9 of them are currently used. So 3 magnetic tapes are available. Then this P2 requests one more the magnetic tape. So you need to check whether this request caused the deadlock or not. In other words, then safe or non-safe. Deadlock, that is the deadlock avoidance.
So what about the maximum is?
Maximum is the to be terminated. P0 is terminated. You need maximum 10 magnetic tapes. Okay? The currently 5 of them are allocated, but this one needs 5 more. So this one currently holding 2 and wait 2 more. This one holding 2 needs 7 more. So you cannot execute, you cannot terminate at one time, right? Because you do not have enough the research. So we need to find the safe, the list of process list. Then, this is a simple case. In general, we have multiple resource type, and each resource type has multiple instances, and with a multiple process. To formalize that problem, oh, by the way, as I said, however, even though this is the non-safe state, that may cause the, we cannot say this is the deadlock always. It may cause the deadlock, especially in this case is 1 multiple instance, one resource type is definitely better, but not always such a thing. But to avoid such a possibility, if you cannot find a safe state, you always decline the request. That is the deadlock avoidance. Problem is in general case, like the multiple resource type with the multiple resource instances for multiple process case. That's a general case. So to do that, we are going to use this resource allocation graph. Then we are going to use the banker's algorithm. Sometimes I spend the time, couple of times spend the time why this algorithm is called the banker's algorithm. You can find from the internet, but still cannot remember why it's called the banker's algorithm, but in general it's called the banker's algorithm. I think it's kind of fairness, okay? To be fair with the multiple resource or multiple customer, so we can use such algorithm. What we see? It's not very complicated algorithm. So basically same algorithm as we used just before for the magnetic tape. So we are going to use the same notation of the resource allocation graph with the multiple instances. So climb edge is the request edge, and the allocation the claim edge. Then the request edge can be assignment edge other direction when it's assigned. So we are going to use the same thing. So this is an example of the resource allocation graph that we are going to use. So in this case, we have two processes. P1 is holding the R1, and P2 is requesting, and P2 is an ISO. Actually, the request. So what is that? It's a future request. Okay, so current request is a future request. Okay. So banker's algorithm can handle multiple instances. Okay, multiple process. And each process has the priority information. Priority information means it's currently how many resources are held by that process. Okay, so you will see this one. This is the data structure that we are going to discuss first. N is the number of process, and N is the resource type. Okay, N is the number of process, and N is the resource type. And available means it's a vector. Why? Because we have multiple resource type. Okay, available. So in the previous case, in case of magnetic tape, it's just one. So we can just check how many available. However, in this case, it's a multiple type, so we are going to use the vector. How many resource type? It's N. So it will be available N. Available 0 to N minus 1. Then next is the total how many resource instances per resource type. How many need? Okay, so that is the maximum. The allocation is currently how many of them are allocated. And the need is it's a maximum minus allocation. How many more instances are needed to be terminated? So it's a maximum minus allocation. We will see the example. So, for example, in this case, we are going to consider 5 the processes. So process 0 to process 4. 5 processes. This is N. N is equal to 5. N is equal to 5. And how many resource type? We have 3 different resource type. That means M is equal to 3. So let's say the A is the hard disk drive, B is the magnetic tape, and C is the network channel. Okay. So we have the 3 different types. And for each, we have 10 of them, 5 of the 7 of C. Then allocation. The first max. Max means to terminate the P0. P0 need maximum 7 A. Okay? 7 the hard disk drive. 5 what did I say? Hard disk drive, magnetic tape. Hard disk drive, magnetic tape, and the CPU. The memory, the network. channel. For example, okay? So, to be terminated, P0 means 7 of hard disk drive, 5 of the, what was this? Magnetic tape. Magnetic tape, and 3 of network the channels. Okay? Then, for example, P1 can be terminated with a 3A, 2B, 2C. And similarly, or the other. This is the max. Then, currently allocate, currently hold. P0 is holding only 1 of B, 1 of magnetic tape. P1 is holding 2 of the hard disk drive only. And P4 is holding 2 of the C, the network channel. Okay? Then, using that information, we can calculate how many available. A, B, C. We can sum up. 2 plus 3 plus 2 is a 7. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 plus 1 plus 2, 5. Currently 7 of A are held. 2 of B is held. 5 of C are held. Okay? Then, how many of them are available? 10 minus 3 is 10 minus 7 is 3. And B, 5 minus 2, 3 is available. And the 7 minus 5, 2 of them. So 3, 3, 2 is currently available. And this is a current status. This is a generalized process resource state comparing to this one. This is actually the same thing. But in this case, we consider only one resource type. But here, we are considering the multiple resource type. Okay? This is current one. Then we can calculate the need. How many more resources are needed to be completed to terminate the P0? 7 minus 0, 7. 5 minus 1, 4. 3 minus 0, 3. Okay? And 3 minus 2, 1. 2 minus 0, 2, 2. And 6, 0, 0. This one, 0, 1, 1. This one, 3, and 4. 4, 0, 3, 1. These are need. That is the same thing as that this need is the max minus allocation. Okay? Then our goal is what? We'd like to find list of process, sequence of process that can be successfully terminated. How can we find that process list? Idea is available. Need should be less than available, right? These are the available resources, then these are the need to be terminated. So A is the process 0 possible to be terminated? No, it's a 7. And what about the P1? Yes, P1 can be doable. So we can start P1 first. Once this one is terminated, then 1 to 2, right? 1 to terminated, this can be added to the available, right? Because you can return the resource. So this will be 4, 5, 4. Then this is terminated, P1. Same idea. We'd like to find the processor whose need is less than available. This one, no. This one, no. However, this one is possible. We'd better select this one first because it will return more resource, right? So we will select the P4 and 4, 8, 5. available will be 885 after P4 is completed, terminated. Next, any of them are possible from now on because all process whose needs are less than available. So we can P0, P2, P3. So we can find the list of processes. It can be different as long as you can find at least one process list, sequence of process. This is called what? Safe state. So this is the safe state. Okay. Any question? Yes.
If we release the resource, I think we should add the max. Not the
Max is the fixed when a process starts. Okay. So this is the maximum resource that each process should be terminated. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not changing. I need 10 hard disk drive to be terminated. Then currently I'm holding nothing. How many more I need? So 10 more the hard disk drive are needed. That is the idea of max allocation and need.
Yeah. So when we count the available, if we release the
For example, process 1.
yeah.
Process
We
1.
release process one, so the available should add the.
Oh, I see.
Process.
It's my mistake. So his question is, actually I add the need to the available, but we need to add the allocation to the available, right? Because this is the process, the resource is held by process. Once process is terminated, release this one. Yes, it's the mistake. So let's do it again. So first need 7, 4, 3. So 1, 2, 2, 6, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 4, 3, 1. Okay. Good point. So totally my mistake. So first, we'd like to find this, right? So which one is available? First, this one. So 1, 2, 2 will be needed. So process 1 will be terminate first. Then add this resource to the here. Because this is currently held by P0, not P0, in this case P1. P1 is the first process. This will be added to here. That will be 5, 3, 2. P1 is done. 5, 3, 2. Then find which process will satisfy this. In this case, this one or this one. So let's select this one. So P4, 4, 3, 2 is less than this one. So this resource will be returned, right? So it will be 5, 3, 4 currently available. So 5, 3, 4. Which one will be? This one can be done, right? So P3. Then this 2, 1, 1 will be added. 7, 4, 5. Then either of them, P1, then P2. We can find the process list. That's good point. So we'd like to add after terminate, return allocated resource, and add to the available to the safety. Question? It's a very simple algorithm that is described here. This is the algorithm. Homework. Why don't you try to understand this safety algorithm, Banker's algorithm? Using example is quite easy algorithm, but to understand algorithm itself, it takes a time, a little bit time. It's not complicated algorithm, it's exactly the same idea. Yes?
Can you go back and
This one?
Yeah, after you calculate the needs,
Uh-huh.
and then you make P1. So how did you
How do I?
once you have P1 next availability. Then
It's a connect means this connection is this process one is done. Okay? When a process is terminated, all resource should be returned to be available, right? So the 200 will be available resource. So you can add 200 plus 332. That will be 532. So current available will be 532. So this algorithm actually described here. So exactly same process. So why don't you try to understand? Maybe next class we will have the exercise lab. There may be the quiz. Okay? Maybe. Depending on my feeling. Okay, so this next few slides, they explain about the safety algorithm. In other words, the banker's algorithm. So first we need to check the need. That is the same as this one. Okay, then try to find the process. This one is maybe different from here. There might be different the answer of this one as long as you can find at least one. This. Okay. Okay, 6 more minutes. That's good. Pretty much enough to solve the problem. Then, what is the deadlock avoidance? Once there is a request, operating system check whether this one holds the deadlock or not. How? Using safety algorithm. We assume this, what if we accept this request? Whether after accept the request, whether status is the deadlock, safe status or not. So to do that, we are going to use the same processor and resource, the state, then request. P1 request 102. Okay. P1 actually currently 200 allocation. Okay. Maximum need 322, but request one more 02, one more A, 2 more C. Okay. So that is 302. So we assume, what if we accept this request? Okay, we assume operating system assume that is the 302. Then available will be decreased because we assign the 1 over A to P1 and 2 over C to here. So this is the current status when we accept the request. Then run the same algorithm. It's a banker's algorithm. First, you need to do need. Need is this. Need is already here. Need is already calculated. Okay? Right? 743 is a need. 74, yes. So need is already calculated. Maximum is not changed, right? Maximum is always static. Okay? It's not changed. Then it's allocated the resource, and this is the needed. The one. So our goal is to find the process list that satisfy this. Which one will be available? Either P1 or P3. What if for P1? So this one will be terminated. Correct? Then this resource will be returned to here. So which means added 5, 3, 2. Currently available is a 5, 3, 2. So which one will be less than the available? 5, 3, 2? Yes, this one. So this will be terminated, that is a P3. So this resource will be added to the available 7, 4, 3. Okay, then 7, 4, 3, all of them less than 7, 4, 3. So we can process P0, P4, and P2. So which means even though we accept the request, it's a safe state. So there might be no problem for deadlock. So we can accept this request. Problem is, what if 330 for P4, 330 P4, 330, 330, 330. Okay? So which means we assume this one is granted. So this is a allocation. Okay? 330, so 0, 0, 2 is available. Then we try to run the same algorithm. First, which one is less than this? Max is not changing. A need. We need to calculate the need. So need is, let me quickly, 7, 4, 3, 1, 2, 2, 6, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1. And the max minus this one is 1, 0, 1. And this is available. So we do like to find this. Is there any process less than available from the need? No, we cannot find. That means if we grant this request, the P4 request, this one, if we grant this one, that will be non-safe state, which means that may cause the deadlock, so we are not going to accept that request. That is the deadlock what? Avoidance. Okay? That is deadlock avoidance. So this is a good example to practice whether this 0 to 0 can be granted or not. Okay? So there may be pop-up quiz, maybe Wednesday or the next week. So why don't you study?
Next week.
I don't know. Okay, so on Wednesday we are going to have the exercise lab for the programming. At that time, you should be able to type. You should be able to use the editor, either VI or the G editor. Otherwise, it will take a long time. So compiling itself of G is very simple. You can use the CC or GCC, but typing will take a time. So if you believe you are not very fast typing using the VI editor, so you can do at your home, then you can see how your source program is running. Okay, so thank you and see you on Wednesday.